Hi everyone, good day and welcome to Operations Management Week 3 discussion. For this pre-recorded report, our group will be discussing 4 main topics with at least 5 subtopics each. The 4 main topics are as follows: quality culture, changing hearts, minds, and attitudes; employee empowerment; leadership in change for quality; and lastly, team building and teamwork. Starting off with quality culture.
Understanding what a quality culture is. To understand what a quality culture is, one must first understand the concept of organizational culture. Every organization has one. An organization culture is the everyday manifestation of its underlying tradition and values. It shows up in how employees behave at work, what their expectations are of the organization and each other, and what is considered normal in terms of how employees approach their jobs. An organization cultures has the following elements. First, business environment. Second, organizational values. Third, cultural role models. Fourth, organizational rights, rituals, and customs. And the last, cultural transmitters. The business environment in which an organization must operate is a critical determinant of its culture. Organizations that operate in a highly competitive business environment that changes rapidly and continually are likely to develop a change-oriented culture. Second element, organizational values describe what the organization thinks is important. Adherence to these values is synonymous with success. Consequently, an organization values are the heart and soul of its culture. Third element, cultural role models are employees at any level who personify the organization values. When cultural role models retire or die, they typically become legends in their organization. While still active, they serve as the living example of what the organization wants its employees to be. Fourth, organizational rights, rituals, and customs express the organization unwritten rules about how things are done. How employees dress, interact with each other, and approach their work are all part of this element of organization culture. Rights, rituals, and customs are enforced most effectively by peer pressure. And the last element, cultural transmitter, are the vehicles by which an organization culture is passed down through successive generation of employees. The grapevine in any organization is a cultural transmitter, as are an organization symbols, slogan, and recognition ceremonies. What an organization truly values will show up in the behavior of its employees, and no amount of lip service or advertising to the contrary will change this. If an organization culture is its value system as manifested organizational behavior, what is quality culture? A quality culture is an organizational value system that results in an environment that is conducive to the establishment and continual improvement of quality. It consists of values, traditions, procedures, and expectations that promote quality.
Quality culture versus traditional cultures. Organizations that develop and maintain a quality culture will differ significantly from those with a traditional culture. The differences will be most noticeable in the following areas: the area operating philosophy, the traditional culture. Two, primary focus is return on investments and short-term profits, may release defective product to improve bottom line, negative side effects. while quality culture is primary focus, customer satisfaction, doing the necessary to exceed expectations. Objectives to traditional culture. Short-term objectives, while quality culture use combo of short and long-term objectives in line with organization vision. Next, management approach to traditional culture. Managers are thinkers. Employees are doers, while quality culture managers are coaches, employees team are members. Attitude towards customers to traditional culture, concerned with needs of the organization, not the customer, while quality culture is customer focused problem solving approach to traditional culture. 2. Finger pointing and deflection of responsibility, an individual undertaking. While quality culture identify and isolate the root cause to fix problem and alleviate symptoms. The area supplier relationships to traditional culture, suppliers kept at arm's length. Adverse relations, while the quality culture suppliers are partners. And the last, performance and improvement approach to traditional culture. Two, erratic and reactive, triggered by problems, while quality culture continuous improvement is at the core of the philosophy. Activating cultural change. To attempt the implementation of total quality without creating a quality culture is to invite failure. Organizations in which the prevailing culture is based on traditional management practices are not likely to succeed in the implementation of total quality. Successful total quality requires cultural change. Several primary reasons cultural change must either precede or at least parallel the implementation of total quality are: first, change cannot occur in a hostile environment, so the total quality approach might be radically different from what the management is accustomed to. Second, moving to total quality takes time. So, in a conversion to total quality, positive results are rarely achieved in the short run. Last, it can be difficult to overcome the past. So, employees might remember earlier fads and gimmicks and characterize total quality as being just the latest one.
Many would attest that for something to ignite, someone or something should initiate the spark. Someone who's willing to step up and maybe take the lead in reaching a certain goal. The same idea applies to organizations. Well, I assume that any organization strives for improvement, like a better and a more efficient operation or service. And for this to be realized, the organization must embrace change. Yes, change does not happen overnight and is always accompanied by discomforts. But if it's for the betterment of all, then it is worth the risk. My topic will be about changing leaders to activate change. Now, the $1,000,000 question is, how can one tell or how can one know when it will be necessary to change leaders, to change the organization? Tricky question, right? Is it because we see the leaders as incompetent or not fitting? Is it because leaders stick to old traditions? Or is it because leaders are not open to new suggestions? Here are parameters or questions you might want to ask yourself as a member or maybe as a leader or as an executive of an organization for you to find out if you have the right leader for the organization. First, are the current leaders fully knowledgeable of the need to change and the ramifications of not changing? This means that as leaders, are they aware or have they seen any room for improvement? Or if they haven't seen any, why do they think that there is no need for change or improvement in the organization? Second, are the current leaders able to articulate vision for the new organization? So, do the current leaders have a vision for the organization? Is the vision SMART? By SMART, we mean specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based or time-bounded. Third, have the current leaders set the tone for change and established an organization-wide sense of urgency? Well, let's just say that yes, the leaders have identified rooms for improvement. Now, do the leaders initiate change and do they encourage the entire body, well, of course, including the employees, to accept the change as well? Fourth, are the current leaders willing to remove all obstacles to cultural change? Are the leaders for change as well? Are they able to sort things out and try to consider which traits or characteristics of the organizations are to be changed or are to be left behind for the organization to change and improve? Fifth, do the current leaders have a history of following through on change initiatives? This means that as leaders or as your leader, throughout their professional career, were they able to experience going through organizational changes as well? It can either be on other organizations or the current organization that they are in right now. And sixth, are the current leaders willing to empower employees at all levels of the organization to make cultural change? This means that as leaders, he or she is to lead and at the same time serve his or her subordinates. To initiate change, employee involvement should be practiced, and as leaders, he or she should encourage, guide, and help employees accept and appreciate the beauty of change.
How are organizational cultures created? Many factors contribute to the creation of an organization culture. The value system of executive level decision makers are often reflected in their organization culture. How managers treat employees and how employees at all levels interact on a personal basis also contribute to the organizational culture. Expectations are important determinants of organizational culture. What management expect of employees and what employees in turn expect of management both contribute to an organization culture. The story passed along from employee to employee typically play a major role in establishment and perpetuation of organization culture. All of these factors can either help or hurt an organization. Laying the foundation for a quality culture. Establishing a quality culture is a lot like constructing a building. The process begins with the laying solid foundation. Like a building, without a solid foundation, an organization corporate culture will quickly crumble. What follows is a 10-step model that qualified professionals can use to establish a solid foundation for a quality culture in any organization. First, understand. Quality is at its heart a cultural concept. The tone for an organization culture is set by the CEO and executive managers. Without the buy-in and commitment of executive management, there can be no quality culture. Second, assess. In this step, a comprehensive assessment of the existing corporate culture as it relates to quality is completed and the results are compiled. Third, plan. Based on the results of the survey in the previous steps, develop a comprehensive plan for establishing a quality culture. Fourth, expect. An organization corporate culture is one of those phenomena in which you get what you expect. Consequently, it is important for executive managers, and supervisor to make sure that all personnel know that quality positive attitudes and behavior are expected. Fifth, model. Executive managers and supervisor must be consistently positive role models of the quality related attitudes and behaviors expected of personnel. Employees are more likely to follow the behavior of management personnel than their words. Consequently, it is important to do more than talk a good game when it comes to quality. Management personnel must walk the talk. Sixth, orient. New employee orientation should have a comprehensive quality component. A new employee's first exposure to the organization occurs during his or her initial orientation. Consequently, it is important to begin emphasizing the organization quality related expectation from the outset as part of the orientation process. 7. Mentor. Many organizations use mentors to help in the development of employees. Typically, mentors provide technically oriented assistance. For example, helping new personnel learn the necessary job skill. By taking this concept one step further, organization can help their new personnel develop quality positive attitudes and behaviors. 8. Train. Providing quality training at all levels is not a new concept to competitive organization. 9. Monitor. Attitudes and behavior tend to be habitual. If people are allowed to continue inappropriate attitudes and behaviors relating to quality, those attitudes and behaviors can become habitual. When this happens, such attitudes and behaviors can be almost impossible to change. And the last but not the least, reinforce and maintain quality. In order to maintain a quality culture once it has been established, organization must reinforce the quality related attitude or behavior they expect of their personnel.
Learning what a quality culture looks like. We define a true culture of quality as an environment in which employees not only follow quality guidelines but also consistently see others taking quality focused actions, hear others talking about quality, and feel quality all around them. If a picture of a company with a strong quality culture could be tapped to an organization's wall for all employees to see, it would have the following characteristics. First, widely shared philosophy of management. Second, emphasis on the importance of human resources to the organization. Third, ceremonies to celebrate organizational events. 4. Recognition and rewards for successful employees. 5. Effective internal network for communicating the culture. 6. Informal rules of behavior. 7. Strong value system. 8. High standards for performance. Last, definite organizational character.
Just like what I've mentioned in my report on changing leaders, change does not happen overnight and change is always accompanied by discomforts. Generally, change is resisted by a lot of organizations and is normal in terms of organizational behavior. But as organizations, what they seek is continuous improvement, which then means continual change and which then means continual change. And for organizations to improve, it must embrace the so-called continual change. But why is change difficult? So going back to one of the topics of our previous reporters, two types of cultures were identified, specifically quality culture and traditional culture. As to how Joseph Juran described change, change is a clash between two cultures. Is a clash between two cultures. And by cultures, he meant quality and traditional culture. In an organization, the body might be divided into two groups, which we can call as advocates of change, and the other group, resistors of change. We've been talking about change for quite a while now, and part of this report, we will be sharing to you steps in facilitating change. First step is begin with a new advocacy paradigm. The second step is to understand the concerns of potential resistors. And lastly, the third step is to implement change promoting strategies. Before we proceed, let us first know what a paradigm is. So for everyone to easily remember and understand this term, we can liken paradigm to a pattern or simply a model. So the first step in facilitating change is to create and adopt a new organizational model or advocacy paradigm. Joseph Juran summarizes the traditional paradigm of change advocate as the following. First, advocates of change tend to focus solely on expected results and benefits. Advocates are often unaware of how a proposed change will be perceived by potential resistors. Next, advocates are often impatient with concerns of resistors. Now, if we are to generalize this old tradition, we can say that these advocates of change disregarded the people who might be affected and their co-workers or subordinates in the organization to the point where they are blinded by their own will. Again, those were the traditional paradigm or model of change. Traditional meaning it's the old way or strategy. Moving on, let us get to know the new, or shall I say the appropriate paradigm of change. When a change is advocated, one must ask his or herself the following questions. First is, who will be affected by this change and how? Next, how will the change be perceived by those it affects? And lastly, how can the concerns of those affected be alleviated, or how are their concerns gonna be acted upon? So the next step is to understand the concerns of potential resistors. So we have here again the potential resistors of change. And yes, it is very normal that someone is against the change you are pushing. The second step in facilitating change is to consider and understand the concerns of potential resistors. To do so, you have to put yourselves in their shoes. According to Philip E. Atkinson, people resist change due to the following. First is fear that maybe the change will affect them, like will majorly affect them. Next is loss of control. Next is uncertainty, or related with fear since they are uncertain. And lastly, more work. The change might give them more work, means more burden to them, rather than making their job or their task easier. And we are now down to the very last step of facilitating change, which is implementing change promoting strategies. This step requires a thorough and deep understanding of the previous steps, as it requires one to incorporate, combine, or consider all the things discussed in the previous steps. Again, Juran suggests the following strategies in handling and overcoming resistance to change. By the way, I won't be explaining all these things since I believe this is very understandable or sabotable, but still, naiuban ani nga ako i-explain para mas masabtan. So first is involve potential resistors. Next, avoid surprises. Next is to move slowly at first. And then next, start small and be flexible. Kung sa baga, start with the baby steps first. Next is to create a positive environment. And then, incorporate the change. This means that you should try to inject the change you want and make everyone accept it over time. Next is to provide a quid pro quo. A quid pro quo is like is like a reward. So if an employee or a member of the organization performs well, give him or her benefits. Mas better if kanang tangible siya nga reward or benefit, like maybe salary increase. Next is respond quickly and positively. Next, work with established leaders. In facilitating change, encourage leaders to show willingness to change, but as much as possible, work as a group. Then next is to treat people with dignity and respect. And lastly, be constructive. Being constructive means to respond positively and yeah, to be creative and to be productive as a member of the organization. By the way, we have been mentioning the name Joseph Juran in this report for a numerous time, but who is he? Joseph Moses Juran is a Romanian-born American engineer and management consultant. He was an evangelist for quality and quality management, having written several books on those subjects. Dr. Joseph M. Juran is widely regarded as the founding father of many of the key quality management programs used by organizations today.
Establishing a quality culture involves specific planning and activities for every business or department. This section identifies the steps involved, but first, it outlines the emotional processes employees go through as the steps are being taken. Managers need to recognize and accommodate the emotional transition required not only of employees but also of themselves while the steps toward making the conversion to quality takes place. Phases of emotional transition. A great deal of research has been done about how people undergo transitions from one state of being to another. Most of this research has focused on the stages of transition or recovery that people go through when they confront a major unexpected and unwanted change in their lives. The types of changes that have been studied most include divorce, the death of a loved one, a life-threatening illness, and the loss of a job. Figure 6.4 illustrates the transition process people go through when confronted by one of these major traumatic changes in their lives. The first emotional response to any type of change is shock. A person is living from day to day, comfortable with the predictability of his or her life. Suddenly, unexpected change intrudes. A typical response to the shock it produces is denial. A change is so unwanted and that the natural human's response is simply to deny that it has happened. This level the state of mind somewhat from the low experience during the shock phase. The length of the denial phase varies from person to person. Regardless of its length, the denial phase is temporary. Events force the issue, and the realization of reality begins to set in. As this happens, the person's state of mind begins to fall. Depressions is common during the realization phase. People need a lot of support during this phase. When realization bottoms out, acceptance occurs. Acceptance does not mean the person agrees with that has happened or with what has happened. Rather, it means that he or she is ready to say, I have this problem. Now, what can I do about it? So this attitude allows the rebuilding process to begin. During this phase, people need as much support as they did during the realization phase. As the rebuilding phase is accomplished, a understanding sets in. In this phase, people have come to grips with the change and they are dealing with it successfully. This phase blends into the final phase, recovery. In this phase, people are getting on with their lives. So managers hoping to instill a quality culture should understand this transitional process. The change from a traditional organizational culture to a quality culture that can be traumatic enough to trigger the process. Knowing this and understanding the process will help managers who are trying to instill a quality culture.
So my next topic will be maintaining a quality culture. Establishing a quality culture is a challenging undertaking for any organization, but what is more challenging is maintaining the quality culture over time. According to Frank Greina, in order to maintain a quality culture, organizations must foster the following critical behaviors. First, maintain an awareness of quality as a key cultural issue. This is accomplished through the regular dissemination to all personnel of quality goals and the corresponding results relating to these goals. Managers should keep score and that all stakeholders know what the score is. Second, make sure that there is plenty of evidence of management's leadership. Well, cheerleading is good, but it's not good enough. Managers should provide leadership in strategic planning for quality, serve on quality councils, and be actively involved in the implementation of quality initiatives. Employees need to see managers walking the walk and as well as talking the talk. Third, empower employees and encourage self-development and self-initiative. Managers should make sure that jobs are designed for as much as self-control as possible. Continually seek and use employee input and encourage self-directed teamwork. Fourth, keep employees involved. Do not just seek their involvement through empowerment. Structure the organization and its processes in ways that ensures it. This means making employees fully empowered members of the Quality Council, maintaining a system that makes it easy, convenient, and non-threatening for them to recommend improvements, and involving employees in areas such as product or process design review. Fifth is to recognize and reward the behaviors that tend to nurture and maintain the quality culture. So, same with what I've mentioned sa ako ang past nga report nga naay ka ng reward nga ihatag or benefits. Recognition involves various forms of public acknowledgement. Rewards are tangible benefits such as salary increase, bonuses, incentives, and promotions. So those are just some guides or ways for an organization to maintain quality culture. I hope that you were able to grasp the idea, and that ends the first topic for this report, which is quality culture changing hearts, minds, and attitudes.
The next topic is employee empowerment. My name is Stephanie Lorraine Bono and I will be reporting the first part of this topic. So let's start with the definition. What is employee empowerment? It is defined as the ways in which organizations provide their employees with a certain degree of autonomy and control in their day-to-day activities. This can include having a voice in process improvement, helping to create and manage new systems and tactics, and running smaller departments with less oversight from higher level management. Just to put it simply, employee empowerment refers to the manner in which companies provide their employees with anything and everything they need to succeed. So basically, employee empowerment is a tool in all organizations in order to succeed. It focuses on their employees, empowering their employees in order for them to be productive and create or produce quality products or quality work. So these are the manners or the actions that all organizations are doing in order to empower or to help or to give their employees the things they need in order for them to do their jobs correctly, to increase their production and to give quality work to the organization. In doing employee empowerment, what are those actions that all organizations must do in order to empower their employees?
First is to give employees a voice by regularly soliciting and acting on their feedback. So in an organization, if a person or an employee has a say or an opinion on something, everyone must listen. It is a way to empower their employees, for employees to know that they are being appreciated, or their voice is being heard. Second, provide opportunities for employees to grow through more autonomy, additional responsibilities, or even an entirely new role. So this one is also a very important action to empower the employees. Imagine if you are an employee in an organization and you do the same task every day. It gets boring. So in order for an employee to be empowered, they need to be challenged. They need to know new ideas, or they need to um to challenge themselves, to know that they can also do some things aside from the things that they have been doing in a long time. So that's an important thing in empowering an employee. Third, recognize employees frequently to increase their engagement and confidence in their own abilities. Recognizing the employees. This is where awards, recognitions is being given to the employees. If an employee is giving a productive or a quality work in the organization, if he or she is doing her best, she needs to be awarded, she needs to be recognized. That's a way of empowering the employees, making them feel that their actions are being recognized. The fourth and the last action, provide employees with the tools, training, and authority they need to excel. So if you want to empower your employees, you have to act, you have to help, and in order for you to help, you need to give them the tools, the training. You need to provide for the things that the employees need in order for them to be empowered. Who are those people who need to act those actions I mentioned earlier? Who are those people who need to act those? These are the company leaders, the HR professionals, and the fellow employees. So basically, everyone in the organization must act in order for the organization, for the environment in the organization to be empowered and to be supportive. So all those three parties that I've mentioned need to establish mutual trust. They must feel comfortable taking risk and establish clear expectations and guidelines. Without this collaboration, truly empowering employees is impossible. What is the key principle of employee empowerment? So employee empowerment has a principle, or the main idea or the purpose of this manner. It is providing employees the means for making important decisions and helping ensure those decisions are correct. So when deployed properly, this should result in heightened productivity and a better quality of employee work and work life. So that is the main principle of employee empowerment. Employee empowerment is being made to help the employees, to guide them, to help them make better decisions, help them make decisions which is right. Next, so how does employee empowerment work? Employee empowerment works in two different ways. It is through job enlargement and job enrichment. Though the two of them may sound similar, but they are far different from each other. Job enlargement works in a horizontal process. It is a horizontal process, while job enrichment is a vertical one. How does this two work? Let's start with the job enlargement. It is changing the scope of the job to include a greater portion of the horizontal process in an organization. I will give you an example in order for it to be elaborated well. For example, a bank teller not only handles deposits or disbursements, but also distributes travelers' checks and sells certificates of deposit. So we can see here that an employee is being empowered through the jobs that is assigned to her by giving her not a single responsibility but multiple responsibilities. It is important for an employee to know how the organizations work or how are the jobs in the organizations work. Organizations need to set the minds of their employees not just on one job, but he or she needs to know what are the other jobs in the organization. Next is job enrichment. It is increasing the depth of the job to include responsibilities that have traditionally been carried out at higher levels of the organization. One example is that teller also has the authority to help a client fill out a loan application and to determine whether or not to approve the loan. This way of employee empowerment is a vertical process. It is from the bottom to bottom upward. Uh, that is the process of this way of employee empowerment. An employee needs to be encouraged that or to be trained to do the things that higher individuals inside the organizations do. She needs to know. And the traditional way of working before is that if you are in this rank, you cannot do the things that higher people is doing, and that is discouraged nowadays. In order to empower employees, they they also need to be given the authority of the people, or they need to know the jobs that the higher ranking officials in the organization is doing. They need to know those, or they also need to be given the same authority as them, with supervision, with guidance, so that all the decisions they are making is right and they wouldn't make any mistakes.
So this is the employee empowerment diagram looks like. CEO, vice presidents, middle managers, supervisors, employees, and customers. Employee empowerment often also calls for restructuring the organization to reduce levels of the hierarchy or to provide a more customers and process focused organization. Employee empowerment is often viewed as an inverted triangle of organizational power. In the traditional view, management is at the top while customers are on the bottom. In an empowered environment, customers are at the top while management is in the support role at the bottom. So, the three benefits of employee empowerment. Employee empowerment can instill greater trust in leadership, encourage employee motivation, lead to greater creativity, and improve employee retention, all of which ultimately results in a better bottom line. So, so the first is motivated employees. Empowering employees through greater autonomy has been directly linked to increased employee motivation. Experts agree that employees who have more control over how and where they do their job will work harder and find their job, or rather work more engaging. So when we say motivated employees, um, for example, the boss said that. you are good in this activity or in this work, so the employee is be motivated that the say of the boss. So that's the motivated employees. Next is greater trust in leadership. A meta-analysis published in Harvard Business Review states that leaders who empower their employees are more likely to be trusted by their subordinates compared to leaders who do not empower their employees. This is not to say that empowering employees involves pushing work onto underlings that managers don't feel like doing themselves. Leaders who empower their employees act as coaches, pushing their employees to do their best work and supporting them along the way. So empowered employees felt that their leaders would not take advantage of the hard work. Instead, they would recognize and celebrate their wins. So in the word greater trust in leadership, ito yung pagtiwala mo ng malaki sa inyong leader sa iyong trabaho bilang employee. So next is improve creativity. So in the same Harvard meta-analysis, leaders who were perceived as empowering had direct reports who were more likely to be related by their colleges as being highly creative. And surprisingly, subordinates who allowed their employees to think for themselves and empowered more likely to volunteer for extra assignments and support their organization outside of the day-to-day job function. So in the improved creativity word is, for example, when the employee is doing some good in this work, so the boss believe in the employee to more improve in this creativity to the employee.
This is Christine Estrera, and let us now proceed to the 4 steps for empowering employees in the workplace. So, there are tremendous benefits to empowering employees, but ingraining in its company's culture takes a considerable level of focus. So, start implementing best practices throughout your organization by following these 4 steps. So, first step, show employees that their feedback matters. Many companies distribute annual engagement surveys, but very few actually take the time to read employee comments, so let alone act on them. Survey fatigue is a direct result of leadership not taking immediate action on feedback. And even if they do act on the results of an annual survey, chances are that any response will take place too late to make a difference, as it takes months to move through stages of the annual survey cycle from the deployment to analysis to response. Second step, recognize to empower. Recognition goes a long way. Now, employees who are recognized for exceptional work feel more empowered to do their best. So, pareha na to as a student. Now, if ma-recognize ta sa atong family, teachers, or sa school, ma-motivate ta to do our best. So, ingana pud sa workplace. So, and recognition has been directly linked to higher empowerment. Third step, provide opportunities for professional growth and the necessary support. So, professional growth and employee empowerment are highly interconnected. So kung maingon tag professional growth, nagpasabot to gaining new skills and work experience nga makatabang to reach a goal in your career, in our career. So we can say that development is important in a job. All companies must then invest in learning and development, urging employees to share their knowledge, take on new responsibilities, and attend industry conference or events. Give them the power to learn and improve their skills. So the fourth step is make empowerment part of your organizational culture and vision. So revamping your company culture to focus on empowering employee is no easy feat. No, it takes time, dedicated effort. Now listening and recognizing employees is a great start. It is indeed. But you need to practice them daily to spark company-wide change.
So now let's move about the leadership and change for quality. So first, what is leadership? Leadership is the ability to inspire people to make a total, willing, and voluntary commitment to accomplishing or exceeding organizational goals. I know we are familiar with the word leadership. So as a leader, it is how you manage your team, how you make strategies, decisions to achieve your organization's success. So that's about the leadership. So let's move about what is a good leader. So good leaders are committed to both job to be done and the people who must do it and strike an appropriate balance between the two. So good leaders determine those duties and responsibilities in the organization and also focus between the job to do and to those who will perform those works that would help contribute to the success of the organization. So next we have good leaders project a positive example at all times. So you as a leader, if honest ka, self-discipline, then determined sa imong work, then you can influence your team by that from the actions you have made. So that's good leaders project a positive example at all times. Then we have good leaders are good communicators. So you as a leader, you are a good communicator. You communicate, motivate, and open to your team, especially in difficult situations. And next, we have good leaders have influence with the employees and use it in a positive manner. So you as a leader, you can learn from your team and your team also learn from you. And lastly, we have good leaders are persuasive. So that's about what is a good leader. Let's move about principles of leadership for quality. So we have customer focus. Customer focus, the organization's primary goal is to meet or exceed customer expectation. So you as a leader and your team, you make strategies that would help achieve your organization's goal. So that's customer focus. Then we have obsession with quality. Every employee must aggressively pursue quality in an attempt to exceed the expectations of customers. So from customer focus, since you are focusing on fulfilling your customer expectations, you as a leader and your member need to maintain the quality or the excellent services to your customers. That's obsession with quality. Next, we have recognizing the structure of work. So work processes must be analyzed, evaluated, and studied continually in an effort to improve them. So in every actions in work that needs to do or to be done, make sure to evaluate and study them before, during, and after to maintain its improvement. Then we have freedom through control. So employees must take control of work processes to reduce variation in output by eliminating variations in how work is done. So in working, the employees should be careful in what not to do doing this work. Employees must take control to achieve the expected outcome of their work. Then we have the unity of purpose. So when there is unity of purpose, all employees pull together towards the same end. And then we have looking for faults in systems. So leadership for quality requires assessing systems in an attempt to
to ferret out and correct systematic problems. It means it is examining the strategies to determine the issues and problems in it, and also determine how to fix or overcome those problems. Then we have teamwork. A team of people working towards a common goal can outperform a group of individuals working towards their own ends. So we all know teamwork is very important as it can lead your work and organizations put into success. Next principle, we have continuing education and training. So continued learning at all levels is a fundamental element for total quality. So in different qualities of work, in different aspects of work, so of course, continuous learning is very essential. So as you work every day, so at least you are also learning every day. So that's about the principles of leadership for quality. Then we have here quality leadership is a precondition for implementing quality management. So it means that quality leadership is necessary for implementing quality management. Maybe it can help the people in an organization and to help improve work and the products. It is how the organizational leader structure and direct an organization as well as how they behave within an organization to the success of an effective quality management process. So that's the quality leadership. Then we have the characteristics possessed by quality leaders to be discussed by Ms. Sikuban.
Today, I am Rukami Sikuban. So this will be the contributions about leadership and change for quality. So the characteristics possessed by quality leaders are as follows. So there are 8 characteristics possessed by quality leaders. First is sense of purpose. They know where they fit and the contributions needed in their area to make the organization successful. So they're the one to know where they fit, and they're the one to contribute what is the needed of the organizations to make it successful or to make it perfect. So the second one is self-discipline. Um, Through self-discipline, leaders avoid negative self-indulgence and also inappropriate display of emotions such as anger and counterproductive response to everyday pressures of the job. So the third one is honesty. If you have honesty, you have to be depended on to make difficult decisions in unpleasant situations with steadfastness and consistency. Next is credibility. So you as a leader, you have to be credible by being knowledgeable, consistent, fair, and impartial in all human reactions. So next is common sense. They know that applying tact is important when dealing with people. So you have to know on how are you going to apply a tact because that would be the most important thing on how are you going to deal with people. So next is stamina. Stamina is energy, endurance, and good health are important to those who lead. So you as a leader, you have to have an energy, endurance, and also a good health. Okay, so next is commitment. So you as a leader, um, you have to do everything within the limits of the law, professionals' ethics, and company policy to help their team succeed. So you have to be commitment as a leaders. So next, the last one is steadfastness. So steadfastness is people do not follow a person they perceive to be wishy-washy and not um, committal. It means that you as a leader, you have the determinations to accomplish your work despite of difficulty. Okay, so the next topic is leadership styles. So leadership styles, it refers to leadership's characteristics, behaviors, when directing, motivating, guiding, and managing groups of people. So there are four leadership styles. So first is autocratic leadership. Autocratic leadership is also known as authoritarian leadership, a leadership style characterized by individual control over all decisions and little input from group members. And also, autocratic leadership is typically make choices based on their ideas and judgments and rarely accept advice from the followers. So that would be the autocratic leadership. So the second one is participative or democratic leadership. Participative leadership is a style of leadership in which all members of the organizations are going to work together to make decisions. Participative leadership is also known as democratic leadership, as everyone is encouraged to participate, and they're going to discuss as a group that can lead to innovation, unique problem solving process, and creative solutions. So that would be the participative or democratic leadership. Okay, so the third one is goal-oriented leadership. So when we say goal-oriented leadership, it involves um, setting clear and specific goals where it is known. So based on established experience that they know can be achieved. So they're the one to make plans on how are they going to make decisions for um, to setting clear and to achieve the goals. So the fourth one is situational leadership. So when we say situational leadership, it's a style of leadership where leaders consider the readiness level of the team members and they serve and the uniqueness of every situation. So that would be all the leadership styles. Okay, so this will be the last topic that I'm going to discuss, which is leadership style in a total quality setting. So first is participative leadership. In a total quality setting, it involves soliciting input from empowered employees and also listening to that input and acting on it. So that would be participative leadership in a um, total quality setting. So the second one is collect employee input. Um, Log it, track it, act on it in an appropriate manner. So work with employees to improve the weak suggestion rather than simply rejecting them, and rewarding the employees for improvements that result from their input. So that will be the leadership style in a total quality setting.
So good day everyone. My assigned topic is to discuss leaders as a mentors, employees and managers on change, and lastly is how to lead change. So one of the best way to help people improve is to mentor them. Mentoring can provide a number of benefits for organization as a whole. So why is it important for a leader to be a mentor? So basically, not only does a mentor benefits mentee, but it can also be help leaders to be more effective in their jobs. So whether building more empathy, providing more insights into the day-to-day of their employees, practicing critical skills like coaching them and giving feedbacks. So being a mentor are not just teaching them but also empowering them to do what they can able to contribute to the organization. Benefits of mentoring. So first is facilitates relationship building and improves teamwork. So it can give good relationship between the mentor and the mentee. So in other words, colleagues. So next is give employees a strong connection to the organization. So third is promote communication. So good communication makes employees or the one you communicate will makes feel valued and care and puts A's. Fourth is enhance employees' performance. So by mentoring, employees could be able to give their best performance in applying what they have learned from their mentor. So next is improve the organization's retention rates. So because of all the mentees could be able to perform well, it provides more positive feedback to the organization. So next is develop the next generation of leaders. So I really believe that it could be able to develop next generation of leaders is I am referring for the mentee being mentored, because they are the next set of leaders to take lead to the newbies. So last is enhance employees' job knowledge and skills. So because of they are learning along while they are working. So next is employees and managers on change. The key to winning support of employees for change is involvement. So next is promote we are together attitude towards change. Third is make sure all the employees understand that the change is driven by the market forces, not management. So last is involve everyone who will be affected by a change and planning and implementing the response to it. So how to lead change? First is develop a changing picture written from the point of view of those affected by the change. So leader must develop their clear picture of what the organization is going to look like after a change. In other words, it is a must-have goal and objective so that they will achieve it and to know the outcome, and it also a way of the organization to implement change. The best example is create strategy to ensure change, to execute the vision to ensure the change. Next is communication the change picture. All stakeholders are given them plenty of opportunities to ask questions, voices their concern, and even vent their anger. So picture of shareholders must deliver the change in writing to ensure that everyone in the organization gets the same message. So examples: meetings should be done and organized properly by the managers to give opportunities to the employees to freely share their thoughts, ask questions, share concern, and to have an openness to achieve the success of the change initiate. So example is scheduling conference call, project summary, and sending letters or emails. So next is the involve shareholders in making the change. Take advantage for their expertise and experience to ferret out the potential roadblocks. So comprehensive roadblocks analysis refers to the barriers. So example is face-to-face meeting is must with employees to identify the potential roadblocks that might impair implementation of the change initiative. So participation is a must to eliminate the roadblocks to implement change and in order to achieve this view obstacles as opportunity and explore them possible routes. Make specific assignments for all the action to implement change and assign deadlines. So planning should be done and contains all the task schedule deadline should be assigned to responsible party. Developing communication strategy and implement support structure is also a big help. Next is monitor and adjust as necessary. So monitor and address to ensure the change process. Leader must closely monitor the progress and change implementation to avoid barriers and also adjustment to keep progress moving. Example is determine how to ensure success and identify barriers to develop by providing the said types could help also be connection with people in your organization. It is a better way to have actions to reach each goals.
Hi, so we are now bound to our last topic to be discussed. So this is all about team building and teamwork. But before knowing what is all about team building and teamwork, let us first know what is a team. So a team is a group of people who perform interdependent tasks to work toward accomplishing a common mission or specific objective. So, ang team is isa ni siya ka grupo nga nagpinabangay og trabaho sa usag-usa para makabot nila ang isa ka mission or goal para sa kalambuan sa isa ka kumpanya. So, that is all about team. So now let's proceed to our main topic, which is all about team building and teamwork. So, team building is the process of turning a group of people, contributing employees into a cohesive team. So when we say a cohesive team, it is a group of people organized to work together to meet the needs of their customer by accomplishing their purpose and goals. So, having a team building, it creates a stronger bonds among the members of a group. Through team building, individuals respect with each other despite their differences and share common goals and expectations. So, a team building is one way of honing the skills of each individual through cooperation or through working with each other to achieve a specific goal or specific objective. There are 3 reasons why team building is important. So first, stronger connection and collaboration. A stronger connection between the company's human resources creates a more engaged and committed team that supports the organization's ambition. So having a positive and friendly relationship are very essential in a business or a company because if employees feel more comfortable with each other, so it is easy for them to work together and they are enjoying of working together. Second is productivity upgrade. So one of the main goal of every company is to increase employees' productivity. So when we say productivity upgrade, this talks more about the improvement. So having a team building, it helps to improve the overall team performance and contribute to the development of each employee. So through productivity upgrade, do not miss the chance of identifying the 3 P's, which are the procedures, the policies, and processes. So team building is a great help in improving the performance of an employee. Third, a deeper understanding of company values. So with team building, employees will get more acquainted with the company's functions and values and discover more about their personal role within the collaboration. So when the team fully understands the company's mission, it gives them motivation. So the employees are more aware that they have an important role in a much wider mechanism that will create a great value worldwide. So through team building, it can help the employees to understand deeply what is the company's value, its mission, and what really it aims to. So with team building, it fosters a sense of belonging and loyalty in an organization or a company. How does team building works? So mostly the team leader or manager will facilitate a series of meetings at which employees get to know with each other and develop a cohesive working relationships. So team building works through facilitated meetings, or in larger companies, organization development staff led the team building sessions. But aside from that, you can structure activities and fun events that team members can do together or work together as one. So there are advantages and disadvantages of team building. But first, we will tackle the advantages. So we have 8. So first, identify strengths and weaknesses. So in a day-to-day routine work, such an analysis cannot be done. But with team building, it can be used by the managers to form an effective team. Second, direct towards vision and mission. So having a team building activities, it defines the role and importance of the team, and it makes the employees understand the organization's goals, objectives, vision, and mission very clearly, and it gives them motivation to contribute towards to it. Then third, establishes roles and responsibilities. So creating team building, it defines and clarifies the role of each member of a team. Then fourth, initiates creative thinking and problem solving. So having a team building, individuals are motivated to give their opinions, views, and solutions to a particular problem. So it leads to brainstorming and exploring their creative side.
Fifth, builds trust and morale. The organization makes employees feel valued. So through the help of team building, it encourages them to develop their skills and build strong interpersonal relations, ultimately boosting the morale and trust of a team members. Then sixth, introduces and manages change. So through the technique used in team building, makes it easier for the managers to incorporate an organization change by making the individual familiar with the change and its necessity. So dili na bitaw mataha ang isa ka team if there are changes happen because they are familiar with it. Then seventh, facilitate delegations. So having a team building, it is easier for the managers to delegate the work to a team efficiently and adequately compared to an individual. Then 8, better productivity. So through team building, as the team work collaboratively to achieve the objectives, then it improves productivity. So now, let's proceed with the disadvantages of team building. So we have 6. First, develops conflict. So when the team lacks coordination and understanding with each other, it leads to conflict and clashes within the team. So if ang team is kuwang og coordination bitaw and walay pagkayusa, so ang mahitabo is mabungkag ang isa ka team or mabuwag isa. Then second, unproductive or free ride team members. So some team members do not contribute much to the team performance. So it leads the members to be unproductive or just free riding. Then third, may lead to non-cooperation. So we are all different. If team members sometimes lack cooperation and unity, so this non-cooperation leads to wastage of effort. So nabit tayo sa hingang ang ubang team members is dili mo cooperate bitaw, so masayang lang effort sa ubang team nga hing cooperate. Fourth, difficult to evaluate individual performance. Sometimes the organization overlooks the contribution of each member individually while rewarding the efforts of the whole team. So nayosahay nga dili ma-notice og unsay efforts sa every member, and ang ilahalang gibasihan is og unsay effort nga nahatag as a whole team. Then fifth, involves costs. Team building activities requires time and money. So sometimes a lot of time, cost, and resources are consumed in ensuring the development of teams. So kanang daghan bitaw ang masaya nga kanang time, oras, or ang resources para lang ma-develop ang isa ka team. Then sixth, accountability and credibility issue. So when team building fails,
it becomes difficult to find out the reason. So the team members do take up the accountability of their work, and while the other members holding the responsibility for their unfavorable outcome. As I have mentioned earlier, aside from the facilitated meetings, team building could be enhanced to various activities. So these activities are inexpensive but fun and effective. So I have here 7 team building activities. So first, code of conduct. A simple but meaningful activity that sets the tone for an event and builds consensus on shared values. So teams list what matters to them on a whiteboard. Second, campfire stories, a classic activity that inspires storytelling and improves team bonding. Team gathers in a circle and share their workplace experiences. Then third, sneak a peek. In this building-focused game, a team have to create a copy of a pre-built structure based on the sneak peek. Fourth, office trivia. Asking relevant trivia questions about your workplace works well in such situations. So this is a quick activity that break the ice. Fifth, truth lie game. Teams gather together in an intimate environment. Each team member says the 3 truths and 1 lie. Team members have to guess the lie out of the 4 statements. Sixth, blind drawing. This activity is similar to back-to-back drawing, except that it focuses on teams instead of individuals. The goal is the same: draw an object using only verbal instructions. Seventh, team jigsaw. Teams have to complete a jigsaw puzzle within the specified time limit, except there's one catch. Some of the puzzle pieces are with the opposing team. So, to successfully complete their puzzle, teams are forced to work together.
Good day everyone. So my topic is all about teamwork. So kabalo na tanong sa meaning sa teamwork kay discuss na ni Ate Kim. So mo proceed ko sa the purpose of teams. The purpose of teams. Organizations form teams to accomplish tasks that are too large or complex for an individual to complete. So for example, ako giatasan ko og dako nga trabahoon. So dili man ako makaya tungod kay ako ra isa. So maon ani na nga tayo mo form na og teams or grupo para mas mapadali ug gaan ang trabaho kung magtinabangay kay para ma-achieve ang goals. There are 3 processes that are common to how teamwork gets done. So the first is transition process, second is action process, and the third is interpersonal process. The transition process is the phase during which a team is formed. Activities include first, mission analysis. So ani mag-establish og pagsabot kung unsa ang mission nga buhaton. Next is goal specification. So ani hunahuna-una na kung unsa gyud ang angay buhaton para makabot ang mission. Last is strategy formulation. So ani aksyonan na nimo ang mga angay nimong buhaton para ma-achieve o makabot ang imong mga mission. Second process is the action process. Comprise the phase during which a team performs its work. Activities include first is monitoring milestones and goals. So ani dapat i-monitor kung unsa na ang progress nga nahitabo para makompleto na ang tasks and activities. Next is monitoring systems. So ani i-monitor ang paggamit sa mga resources such as people, technology, and information. Next is coordination. So ani nga part mag-manage na ug mag-organize sa flow sa mga activities and tasks. Last is team monitoring and support. So ani tabangan ang membro sa ilang task nga buhaton. So for example, tudluan or paghatag og feedback sa ilang gibuhat kung sakto ba or nababay kulang or dili sakto. Next process is interpersonal processes. Include activities that occur during both the transition and action processes. These include first is conflict management. So ani mag-establish og rules and conditions para ma-avoid ang dili pagsinabtanay and para mas mapadali sa dugsulbad if mahitabo man gani. Next is motivation and confidence building. So para makabot ang mission, dapat willing ug naay abilidad sa pagbuhat. Last is affect management. So this part needs to help the member nga makontrol og tarong ang ilang emotion as they work together. Effective teams share 5 characteristics. First is shared values. So ani mag-sharing ang grupo kung unsa o nganong dapat magtinabangay. Next is mutual trust. So pagsalig sa usag-usa nga mas tagaan og interest ang grupo kaysa sa individual nga priority. Next is inspiring vision. So ani dapat na ay direction nga maoy makamotivate sa pagsalig og pagpaningkamot sa next is skill or talent. So dapat mag-uban ng abilities and expertise para mabuhat kung unsang angay buhaton at para productive sad ka mo trabaho sa uban. Last is rewards, recognition of achievement. So there are 3 kinds of teams. So first is project teams. So for example, software development. So na siya process like programming, designing, and documenting. So kung ang imong skills is in programming, so adto ka. So kung ang imong skills is for designing, adto ka, and then if your skills is in documenting, so adto ka. So ang project teams is i-assign ka through your skills. Next is virtual teams. So for example, anita ni Lenny Robredo. So si Lenny Robredo is na siya teams. So ang teams ni Lenny Robredo mangita og laing member nga which is mubutar sad ni Lenny Robredo pero in different places. So kung mag-meeting sila or na session about sa mga activities or plataforma ni Lenny Robredo, so through virtual lang sila mag-meeting. Last is cross-functional teams. So for example, naay kasal sa beach. So naay different teams nga magbuhat. Like naay teams nga mag-prefer sa food, naay teams nga mag-prefer sa lights, and then naay teams nga mag-decorate kay para mas successful ang event. The social aspect of teamwork provides a superior work experience for team members which can motivate higher performance. First is mutual support. So importante sa grupo nga na sila support system wherein makakuha sila og learning and then mamotivate sila og buhat sa ilahang trabaho. And also support can encourage people to achieve goals. Last is greater sense of accomplishment. So if ang miyembro sa usa ka grupo is ang nahuna is positive sa possible nga outcomes, so ma-feel yun nila nga ang ilang gibuhat is mas successful. The following pitfalls can lead to team dysfunction and failure to achieve important organizational objectives. First is individual shirking their duties. So ang team is mag-share sila og responsibility. So if ang uban is gitake nila ang responsibility, then ang uban is wala, so maunang ang team is ma-failure kay wala sila nagtinabangay. Second is good influence over decisions. So for example, mag-meeting ay isa ka team. So na isa ka member nga kung share siya yung ideas is accepted, pero kung ang isa is kung share siya yung ideas is dili paminawon, so maka-feel siya or mawad-an siya og gana, so maunang maka-cause og problem. Third is lack of trust. So if ang members is mag-set of goals niya wala matuman tungod kay sa pag-sharing sa ideas na uban is feeling nila dili sila tuuhan. So maunang dili na sila comfortable nga mo share sa ilang ideas. And also lack of trust can also lead to miscommunication and misunderstandings. Next is conflicts hamper progress. So in this case dapat magtinabangay mo unya ang conflict inyong gipakadak-an, so dako kay siya nga babag sa inyong progress. Fifth is lack of teaming skills. Collaboration skills needed to work well with others. So if nay isa ka members nga feeling niya ang iyang skills is sibo gyud ato nga buhatonon, unya pag ana diay is maglisod sad siya, unya dili siya mudawat sa tabang sa iyang kauban nga nakabalusad. So as a result magka-conflict gyud. 6 is missing task skills. So if ang isa ka team, ang ubang member is dili mobuhat sa task and activities, magkalisod gyud og achieve sa goals. 7th is stock information. So if ang isa ka grupo is wala matarong og disseminate ang angay nga buhaton, so maglisod og lihok ang mga grupo kung unsa ang ilahang mga trabahoon. 8 is too many members. So if ang isa ka grupo is daghan 8 is too many members. If daghan kaayo ang members sa isa ka grupo, magdugay og kompleto ang mga buhatonon, and then if naay meeting, maglisod og schedule. Last is group think. So for example na isa ka member nga na siya task nga buhaton pero nagka problema and then wala siya ni tugan siya sa iyang mga kauban. So kay basin hunahuna niya makasab-an siya, but then dapat i-share unta to niya ang problema kay basin mataba o masulbad to nga problema.